Guys. Sorry, guys. Let me just hang on. Let me just throw in. I want to throw in a fact here, though. Okay, I want to throw in a fact. Man, forget transfer fees. They are not the biggest. They are not the biggest commitment financially. Man City, on their last set of trading accounts, spend £487 million a year on salary. Okay, to put that into context, Arsenal's turnover in the last 5 years has only been above that amount once. So, what City pay their players, some of the best players in the world, not just to come to their club, but to stay there, is more than Arsenal turnover and income. When you're saying no to that, Brandon, what do you mean?
Let me answer this one quite simply, right? There's two sides to transfers. Yes, Manchester City spend an awful lot of money, and Liverpool and Arsenal have got to spend an awful lot of money to catch up. I totally get where Hussam's coming from. Difference between Arsenal and Liverpool and Manchester City. Look at the sales. Sales alone, just the City, right? So yeah, they spend a lot of money.
Good point. Very good point.
They also make a lot of money. Arsenal have been pathetic at selling players for years and years, right? Liverpool, very, very, very similar. However, the season that Liverpool did compete and did win the league, what did Liverpool do well? They sold Coutinho for £110 million.
Oh, yeah, that money lasted for so long.
So Brandon, I get your point. So go on, find your point. Go on.
They invested that into Van Dijk and Alisson, which was the two key missing pieces that they needed to go on and compete and win the league.
They even bought Fabinho as well.
Also, right, Arsenal being pathetic at selling. We've spent so much money in the last few summers. I can't sit there and say that Arsenal lacked ambition last summer, because we didn't. We went out and did £100 and some odd million on Declan Rice as an example, right? However, this summer we did lack ambition because we needed a striker.
So I understand that. I can get that point, but I want to ask you about the money, because the essentially the lack of ambition is essentially sort of compounded with we didn't spend enough, right? Essentially, we didn't spend enough, didn't buy enough players. So how much more money do you think you could raise a year if you were honestly, do you think you could raise a year in income if you were better at selling?
Okay, let me answer you this as well, because again, when we talk about transfers, we also include wages into that, right? Apart from 2 or 3 players, you could check this as well. It's there, it's online, right? Apart from
Brandon, there's an easy way to answer this. Double.
Hang on.
Prime example. Sold him for 30 million last summer.
Hang on. Apart from 2 or 3 players at Arsenal, yeah, you could check this online as well. Everybody else is on £90,000 a week plus. So when you talk about City paying big wages for their players, right? Arsenal can pay that as well. But we have a lot of bang average players on high wages. Prime example being, Eddie Nketiah and Reece Nelson for an example. Right?
But I need to stop you though, because we'll miss the point. An important point you said needs to be addressed, and I have to stop you as the host. When you say you can spend as much as City, how can you spend as much as City do on wages when their wage bill is almost as much as your business brings in income? If you spent the same on wages as them, you would literally go bankrupt. You would go bankrupt. Now you could say sell better. So how much? When you say Sam said double, so what's that going to be? An extra £100 million a year of income? Would you say would be fair?
Yeah.
What, to sell better?
So say, like, how much more income a year could you raise through selling if you were better at it, in your opinion?
Probably another 100 million, which would have brought us a striker, which could potentially change Arsenal into the league.
So I understand where you're coming from, but the point still remains, and this is where I think fair conversations have to be had. I understand that this summer you could have done more, and I think in isolation it's a fair comment.
So then you agree?
No, I don't, because I was about to make my point. That the point I'm painting, the point I'm making, is that this idea that if you don't do what City do or don't do what Real Madrid do, you lack ambition. The problem that you have, and this is the irony in the FFP was invented by clubs like Arsenal, the Red Cartel, to stop other clubs from growing, is they can't spend as much and they can't be as ambitious purely because they don't earn enough money at this particular juncture. We had people that used to moan, Brighton should spend more. Now, they just had their record-breaking summer. They broke it 2 years running. But you have to exponentially and slowly grow. Now, for Arsenal, it's a case of as they continue to get back into the Champions League, if they do it regularly, where I would agree is if you're back in it 4, 5, 6, 7 years and your income is growing at the same time, and yet you don't start spending more on players and you don't start spending more on wages, then I think you could argue. But I don't think you can look in a snapshot summer overarching and say there is a lack of ambition when the previous year you said you did. The reason why you have to be mindful, and it's one of those conversations where I think the last 12 months should have taught us a lot. We all now know, whether you like it or hate it, we all know PSR and FFP is a real thing. We all know that teams are being punished for it and people suddenly care about what they are and are not losing. And I think that we have to be really mindful of the financial
So
side.
you're telling me FFP stopped them from signing a striker?
Guys, please let me just finish.
Because you didn't let the City
No,
guys.
Hang on, these are important conversations. Guys, please stop. So when people say things like this is a bad take, again, you may think it's a bad take. I'm not married to the idea that FFP and PSR stop them. What I'm married to is let's wait and see for the facts to come out in their trading accounts. So Man United have just in terms of me personally, unilaterally 100% saying they should have spent another 100 million this summer. Let's just paint a picture and say the trading accounts come out and Arsenal were very, very close to having a problem. Paint the hypothetical picture. Then it wouldn't show a lack of ambition. It would show being sensible and not overspending and doing what other clubs who are having point deductions are being done. The problem that I have, again, if their accounts were amazing and there was £100 million to spend and you didn't do it, then I think it's absolutely fair to criticize that situation. Unless, for instance, this forthcoming summer, you then go and get Isak, and then it makes perfect sense that the only reason we didn't do it is because you believe that Isak was the guy to go after as an example.
Yeah, but why does it always have to be a year later? This is why I don't understand. Why does it always have to be a year later?
I'll give you an example, but this happens, doesn't it? Real Madrid didn't go out last summer and buy an alternative to Mbappe. They waited for Mbappe. Manchester City, when they missed out on Harry
but we
Kane,
had players to replace him, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's the same logic. When City didn't sign Harry Kane, they waited for Haaland. They didn't just go, right, let's go out now and get somebody else that isn't anywhere near or isn't of the standard that we want.
No, I agree. I hear what you're saying. But
when it comes to a lack of ambition, the bit that never gets addressed is why are we expecting a team that, like, Arsenal's income is almost half that of Real Madrid's. Yeah, I see Arsenal fans say, we've got to act like Real Madrid. You can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, but that's not what we're saying, Terry. Terry, you're missing the point. Just because you can't spend as much as Hamza, 2 seconds, my bro. Okay, because I know when we're going to space, you can do these whole things. But Terry, you need to understand. Just because we say act better, demand better, I'm not saying you have to spend as much money as we do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying spend the money better. This is what I'm saying, and not just that, Terry. All right. Listen, again, I don't know the situation with the FFP. Brandon might know, I might not know. My point is, I do not believe that Arsenal couldn't spend a penny more this summer than what they already did. Same with Liverpool.
I agree with you on that point. I think
even Sam.
No, I agree with you on that point. Okay, I think they maybe could have spent a little bit more. But when you say be better
even
with the
Liverpool
money,
as well.
Hang on a minute though. I agree with you that clubs sometimes could do better with their money. Man United are a prime example. We spent as much as City in the last 10 years, done poorly with it. The point is though, over a lot in isolation in 1 year, you could point out, Arsenal should have done more this summer. But over a 10-year period, if Real Madrid and Man City earn almost double the income of Arsenal, and remember, there's only a finite amount of players at the level. Think about the players at Real Madrid and the players that are at Man City. How many more other players are there in the world that are at the level of Vinicius Juniors, Haalands, KDBs? How many? Wait, Brandon, what are you saying no to? How many are there? Then answer the question.
But Vini was nothing before Madrid.
Terry. But the thing is, Terry, these players, the Vinis, the Rodrigos, we picked them when they were young. This is brilliant scouting.
Yes, again, but you're missing the point again. When you added them to your team, you went and bought Vinicius Junior when you had peak Mudryk, Kroos, Ronaldo, Karim Benzema.
No, Ronaldo wasn't there. Hang on a minute. And when did you sign? I don't know. I don't think we even signed him.
I think Vinicius. Hang on a minute. I think Vinicius. Hang on a minute, guys. Please let me.
Go on.
Let me answer the questions. Vinicius Junior. I swear he's a deal with Real Madrid was agreed a year or two before he joined. That's normally the way these things work. The point is, You still
Oh yeah,
had
2017, but we let him stay a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
The
point,
sorry. No, I was thinking
the point I'm making is that you were adding to one of the best squads in the world. The point I'm making is at any one time, how many other players are available in the world, Brandon, right now that are as good as City and Real Madrid's?
Go on, Brandon. Sorry, bro.
Well, I've got two questions to answer because obviously we talk about this FFP.
Can you just answer me that question? How many more players in the world are of that level that are available?
You know, I'll answer it, right? But first, I want to ask you a question, right? Do you genuinely think it is a case of Arsenal are struggling with FFP, or, and we've got multiple examples of this as well. Like, remember when Arsenal were two players away from winning the league the season that Leicester won it, and we went out and signed Petr Cech. You know, Arsenal, when we get into situations like this, we always seem to be one or two players away. Now, in my opinion, that's because the Cronkies are more interested in the fact that they're getting the Champions League money than what they are about winning trophies, right? So that's where I say the lack of ambition, because I think we all know, and majority of the Arsenal fans at the end of last season said Arsenal need a striker, right? Now, when you say about how many other players are of the level of like a Haaland, of a Vinicius that Arsenal could go out and get, right? I totally understand that, and this is the excuse that majority of Arsenal fans use now. You know, Haaland's an absolute robot. There's nobody out there like him. There's not a striker out there like him. That doesn't mean that Arsenal shouldn't try and invest in somebody who could potentially.
But that isn't the answer to the question, though. That the point is, I agree that you can go out and buy other strikers, and you've done that. You've gone out and bought Gabriel Jesus, who you all like to begin with. You've gone out and spent money on Kai Havertz, who started to score some goals. And I know you want better than that. And I think you guys should have gone and got Victor Gyökeres. I 100% agree with the point. The issue is, I've watched him play a number of times. I think I really like the look of him. I think he looks good. The point I'm making is that with these conversations, we all do this at times. We become reductionists, and we look at things as, well, we could have gone out. I know that we lack ambition because we should have gone out and bought a striker. But the overarching picture, when you delve into these conversations more widely, and I've heard, and this was back to the original question, that Arsenal have never been that club. So you've got some Arsenal fans who are in their 50s and 60s that moan about a lack of ambition. My question is, why did you even fall in love with this club in the first place? You were never the club who spent and behaved like Real Madrid, who spent and behaved like the biggest and wealthiest teams in England. So I don't understand why suddenly your love for a club that's never behaved that way has changed. My brother's a Leyton Orient fan. He knew what he was signing up for when he became a Leyton Orient fan. He's not suddenly sitting there now that he's in his early 40s saying, we fucking lack ambition, because they're not behaving overly different to how they have done in the past. No, it isn't a complete difference. The logic remains the same. I'm asking why a 50 or 60-year-old Arsenal fan who has never seen them behave like the top teams in England financially or like a Real Madrid is now moaning that they're not behaving like a Real Madrid. I need that
maybe
answer.
because they grew up seeing their team winning stuff, Terry. They're not winning anything now, apart from an old cup here.
They weren't winning behaving like Real Madrid, so why now do they have to behave like Real Madrid?
But you're missing
my point. You're not answering the fucking question.
Let
me just answer that question.
Terry, it's very simple for me. You don't have to spend like us just to win. I think also what is it? I think when you won 3 trophies,
again.
3 league titles. Sorry,
I understand that. I understand that, but the problem that you've got is that they're not asking to be run. So again, if I was hearing from people, I'm happy if Arsenal get back to winning at the rate we did under Wenger. That would make sense to me. But I am very, very. It's not what I'm hearing people say.
What are they asking for?
I can answer it, right? The majority.
Can I just say something quickly? Because I'm going to go. I was going to say this point. Terry is very malicious the way he brought that point, yeah? He knows very well, Terry, that the structure of Man City and the structure of Madrid are so elite. And the reason is City are there because they've got advanced people who understand. How do they target a player like Claudio Echeverri? You've never heard of him. You've never seen him play. They've already nicked him and they've already loaned him out to River Plate. They have the best scouts.
So Hamza, I don't think I'm being malicious. So this is where the hang on, because guys, because I've got to end this show soon because I'm well over time. But this is the point I'm making. This is wider than just this window showing ambition. I'm going to get angry. How many scouts in the world? Let's just say Hamza's right. Let's all just sit in Hamza's world for a minute. How many scouts in the world and how many agents in the world and contacts could produce what City are doing behind the scenes in terms of bringing in talent nobody's heard of. How much of that talent, how much of that finite talent is available? This is why, and this is where the mainstream, but this is where the mainstream media lets us down, is that we should be getting the mainstream media to ask these questions, because maybe, just maybe, it's impossible for more than 4 or 5 clubs to behave in it. When you say no, Brandon, tell me how I don't know if it is or isn't, nor do you. We don't know. We don't know.
Let me answer. Right. You're right, Tel.
I like Terry's energy. I can't lie.
Listen, you're 100% right. Yeah, Arsenal, even back in the day when we was winning trophies up against the likes of Man United, Fergie, etc., we never spent at the rate that Manchester United did. Right, we've never been that club. We've never been that club to go out, break the bank for players, etc., etc. Right. So in that case, then we should have better people in charge. Then better scouts, better staff members, better manager.
Which one is spend money smartly.
Hang on. Yep. So the fact that we've gone out and got Arteta, who was a novice in the game, right, never managed before, shows me that Arsenal lack ambition. Because if you know that you're not going to spend at the rate that the likes of Manchester City are to win, then surely you need somebody who's better in charge, better in that department, better than Edu, right? And I can give you an example, right? And you probably agree with me on this, Tel, right? Man United's current backroom staff, the people that they went out and got in the summer, like the likes of your Dan Ashworths and all the rest of it.
Oh, my brother as well.
In that department, then Edu fucking Gaspar, right?
So I understand that. Again, Brandon, but I understand that. But remember, Man United are an exponentially bigger and wealthier club than you. So Man United doing it makes more sense. The point I'm making is this: it's not about you're making this again specifically about Arsenal and a lot of Arsenal fans that don't like, but you are. I'm talking about football fans at large, because remember at the beginning, I spoke about Liverpool fans, I spoke about multiple fans. I still believe, like in every sport in the world ever, there's only a certain amount of boxing coaches who regularly coach fighters to be at a world-class level. There's only a certain amount of MMA coaches, sprinting coaches, tennis coaches that get people to that optimum level. Not everybody can show the same ambition, because I don't think there's the facilities to go around. And I just sometimes feel, so again, take your Arsenal hat off for a moment, right? Because that's the problem here. Everyone's looking at it through their own club. I sometimes feel that the way football fans talk now, it's like, well, everybody can just go out and do it. I don't think sport is as basic and simple and as easy as that, in my opinion.